We begin tonight with a protest that stalled traffic for hundreds of people heading to PDX. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Blair Best. The Caravan of about 50 cars blocked inbound lanes on Airport Way to protest the war in Gaza. Catherine Cook shows us the impact it had on travelers.
They got people backing up. No one's getting to the airport.
Cell phone video shows what happened as pro-Palestinian demonstrators gathered on Airport Way Monday afternoon. The Caravan of about 50 cars began blocking inbound lanes to PDX around 3:30. For about an hour, they halted traffic for travelers trying to reach the airport on New Year's Day.
It took us 35 minutes to go not even 2 miles.
Alan Boyd was worried he'd miss his flight home to Las Vegas.
I'm actually seriously worried about missing my flight because my flight's at like 5:55. And it's, 5:10 right now?
As the protest unfolded, Port of Portland officials say officers worked to reroute traffic, including shuttle buses, to minimize the impact.
They are redirecting everybody.
For some travelers, it wasn't enough. In fact, we saw some folks who had abandoned their rides and were running next to cars, pulling wheeled suitcases behind them, just hoping to make their flights. Many people, like Angie Christensen, were just glad they made it.
We're here. We're getting home, so that's the important part.
This was one of several recent demonstrations opposing the conflict in Gaza. Most recently, protesters blocked traffic on the Burnside Bridge.
There's a time and place for everything, and during holidays, like disrupting families getting home, is not time to do it.
In Northeast Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
One person is dead after a police shooting in Longview. It happened around 5 o'clock this morning. Officers showed up to a home on Columbia Heights Road for what they're calling an in-progress incident. Now, shortly afterwards, police opened fire. No officers were injured, and we spoke to neighbors who say they're shocked and worried for their community.
Unbelief because, like I say, I've just always felt safe here. I just do not understand what's going on in this town because I feel that over the years it definitely has changed.
The Cowlitz County Sheriff's Office says it's taking over the investigation and will provide more details as we get them. Well, now to a developing story out of Medford. Multiple sources tell our sister station, KOBI, that up to 10 patients at a hospital there have died as a result of infections allegedly caused by a nurse who switched out prescribed fentanyl with tap water. Maximus Osborne has more.
Multiple sources say an Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center nurse injected multiple patients with tap water in an attempt to cover up their misuse of the hospital's supply of pain medication, specifically fentanyl. We're told inside RRMC's intensive care unit, as many as 9 or 10 people developed infections and died. Medford police declined to provide details, only confirming it is investigating a situation at RRMC. Our sources tell us the tap water, which is not sterile, led to multiple infections of Pseudomonas. The host of our Docs on Call program, Dr. Robin Miller, says that type of infection can be very dangerous in people in poor health, exactly the kind of people you'd find in a hospital's ICU.
It can cause sepsis, pneumonia, it can infect all the organs, so it can be a very severe infection.
At this time, no one has been charged with a crime, but it needs to be repeated. Police are still investigating. We previously reached out to Asante on Friday about these allegations. It declined an interview but provided a brief statement. Quote, "We were distressed to learn of this issue. We reported it to law enforcement and are working closely with them." End quote. This weekend, Asante's board chair declined further comments, but said it is now a police matter. Meanwhile, Dr. Robin Miller says that switching out a patient's medication for personal misuse, what our sources say the nurse did in this case, is called drug diversion.
You don't think of medical professionals doing this, but 10% of medical professionals divert drugs. 10%. That's a lot.
According to various reports, fentanyl is one of the most commonly diverted drugs. It happens across the country in hospitals. But what Dr. Miller doesn't understand is why tap water was allegedly used. She says there should be sterile options available that wouldn't put the patients at risk.
Now again, the hospital system says they're working closely with police, but so far no arrests have been made. Well, starting today, food delivery companies are required to get a permit from the state to deliver alcohol. That includes Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Instacart. It's part of a new permit program created by the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission. The commission says this change will bring third-party delivery services to the same standard as brick-and-mortar operators. They say it will also ensure customers are of age and not visibly intoxicated. Though companies will need to come up with their own alcohol delivery training program for their drivers. After that, they'll need to get it approved by the state before resuming these deliveries. The permit is free to these companies and will last for an entire year, but it will cost $250 for the state to approve what's in their required training program. And here are some more laws that took effect today in Oregon and Washington. In Oregon, several laws are aimed at helping those dealing with addiction. One requires hospitals to hand out Narcan to patients with substance use disorder after they're discharged. Another expands drug treatment programs inside Oregon jails. And one imposes stricter sentences for people accused of organized retail theft. And a few others define domestic terrorism crimes and paramilitary activity. And in Washington, the minimum wage is going up to $16.28 an hour. That's the highest in the country. House Bill 1143 requires a 10-day waiting period for buying guns, and buyers must pass a safety training program. In another new law, some businesses will no longer be allowed to test employees for cannabis use. For a full breakdown of the new laws, head to KGW.com. And there's also a few price hikes taking effect in the area. Let's start with TriMet. They've increased their fares for the first time since 2012. Starting today, a 2.5-hour pass will now cost $2.80. That's 30 cents higher than what it's been. And a day pass is $5.60, up from $5. That's for regular price rides. Honored Citizen and Youth prices went up to $140 for 2.5 hours and $280 for the day. But the monthly cap for hot passes is still $100 for regular price riders. And utility bills are going up for PGE customers. On average, residential customers can expect an 18% increase in electric bills. For a single-family home, that means a jump of around $25 a month. Small businesses can expect a 14% increase on average. Now, Oregon's Public Utility Commission did approve the rate hike. And here's why. PGE cites the rising cost of fuel to power their plants, along with the need to upgrade their systems. But here's some good news. Low-income houses can take advantage of a rate discount program, and the amount you can save is going up with this increase. That means some could get up to 60% off their bill. Check to see if you qualify at portlandgeneral.com. Now, also starting today, a new or renewed driver's license, vehicle tags, registration fees, and other Oregon DMV service costs will increase. Here are just a few of those changes. Most service fees will increase by $3 to $10, but a driver's test for many non-commercial vehicles will go from $9 to $45. And the cost of commercial driver's skill test will jump from $70 to $145. We've got a full breakdown on KGW.com. Well, you're watching